Everyone in the palace thought the royal twins were dangerous, and honestly, they kind of were. But nobody expected a human janitor, someone hired to mop floors, to become the only person they trusted. And when unknown ships broke through the planet's defenses and the entire palace fell into chaos, those two mischievous alien kids did something no adult engineer could do. What happened next almost changed the future of 3 species forever. Every alien nanny quit, until one human janitor outsmarted the Queen's twins, HFY. The crystal towers of Nixera Prime shone like frozen lightning under 3 pale moons. The imperial palace looked calm and perfect. Inside, it was not. Tall doors burst open at the end of a long black hallway. An insectoid nanny shot out, 6 legs skidding, all 4 of her eyes wide with horror. One sleeve was on fire. The other dripped glowing blue slime. "I resign," she shrieked. "Those are not children. Those are unstable energy events." Servants pressed against the walls as she stormed past. A trail of bitter smoke stained the air. At the far end of the hall, a human janitor froze with his mop half raised. Marcus Cole wiped sweat from his forehead. The palace air was hot and heavy, tuned for cold-blooded Nixerans, not for a guy from Earth. His dark blue maintenance uniform clung to him like a wet blanket. "Another one gone," he muttered. His cleaning drone chirped beside him and projected a warning. "Spill detected." The text flashed over a patch of purple slime still sizzling on the floor near the nursery doors. "Yeah, I see it," Marcus said. "I'm not blind, just underpaid." He pushed the mop toward the mess, trying to ignore the sound from behind the doors. Something thumped. Something crashed. Then came a high giggle that somehow sounded both cute and dangerous. The doors hissed open. Marcus jumped back as a tall Nixeran in formal armor stepped out. His shell was polished to a mirror shine. Silver chains hung from his shoulders. First Minister Threx. Marcus straightened so fast his spine cracked. "Sir." Threx's antennae twitched as he looked at the slime on the floor, then at the smoky air. "The 12th this month," Threx said. "And the summit begins tomorrow." Marcus focused on the puddle. If he looked busy enough, maybe the alien noble would ignore him. No such luck. "You are human," Threx said. "Yes, sir," Marcus replied. "You are also the one who stopped the oxygen regulator from failing last week." Marcus winced. "It was just a patch job, sir. Any real engineer could have." "Our engineers did not," Threx cut in. "You did." He circled Marcus slowly, studying him like a piece of strange machinery. "Humans are adaptive," Threx went on. "Stubborn. Creative under pressure." Marcus's stomach sank. "Sir, with respect, I'm a janitor. I clean. I fix small things. I do not raise alien kids." A chair hit the inside of the nursery doors with a loud bang, making both of them flinch. Tiny voices screamed with laughter. Threx turned back to the doors. His plate sagged a little. "The Imperial heirs need a caretaker," he said. "The Empress cannot appear at a galactic summit with her own twins out of control. It will be seen as weakness." Marcus shook his head. "I've never even babysat human kids." "You will learn," Threx said, "or your contract is ended. You will be returned to Earth on the next cargo ship. Without pay." The hallway seemed to tilt. Without pay. That money was the only reason his sister could still buy treatments back home. No contract meant no medicine. He swallowed. "How long?" he asked. "Until a suitable replacement is found," Threx replied. "A few cycles. Perhaps more. You will have full authority in the nursery. You will keep the heirs alive, contained, and presentable." Marcus looked at the doors. Another chair slammed into them from the other side. A giggle followed, then a small, sharp voice. "Do you think the new one will cry?" "Of course," a second voice replied. "They always cry." Marcus took a slow breath. He had fixed air systems while alarms screamed. He had crawled through frozen pipes and leaking suits. He had lived through worse than sticky floors and loud kids. "Probably." "Fine," he said. "I'll do it." Threx pressed his hand to the panel. The doors slid open, releasing a wave of warm air, bright light, and chaos. With a push between the shoulders, the First Minister sent the human janitor into the storm and sealed the doors behind him with a final hiss. Marcus stood very still, afraid to touch anything. The royal nursery looked less like a room and more like an accident caused by a hurricane and a science experiment at the same time. Toys floated in slow circles near the ceiling. A bookshelf was upside down. Glowing paint dripped down the walls like alien graffiti. One pillow was on fire. He decided not to look too closely. Two small figures stood in the center of the chaos. The Nixaran royal twins. They were about the height of human children, but everything else about them was wrong in every direction. Their bodies were covered in soft, color-shifting plates that shimmered like oil on water. Their antennae flicked and twitched, glowing with tiny sparks. And their 12 bright eyes all locked on Marcus at once. It felt like being studied by two tiny supercomputers. The left twin crossed their little arms. Their plates turned a challenging red. "You are not a nanny," they said. The right twin nodded. The last one screamed for 9 minutes. Marcus tried to smile. "Well, hello. I'm Marcus." Both twins spoke together, perfectly synchronized. "We don't like cleaners." "Good news," Marcus said. "Today I am not cleaning anything." A loud crash behind him made him jump. The floating bookshelf finally lost patience with gravity and slammed into a table, breaking both. The left twin grinned proudly. "We did that." Marcus forced himself to breathe. "Right. Let's maybe try not to break anything else today." "No promises," the right twin replied. Marcus looked around for a safe place to stand. There wasn't one. Even the floor hummed strangely, like it was thinking about rising into the air. "You two usually do activities with your caretakers, right?" Marcus asked. "Learning? Games. Boring," said the left twin. "They treated us like babies," added the right. Marcus pointed to a glowing panel on the wall. "What's that for?" Both twins turned their heads sharply, their plates flashing yellow. "That is the environmental control board," the left said. "We are not allowed to touch it," the right added. "But you have touched it," Marcus guessed. They exchanged guilty glances, but didn't deny it. Marcus crouched near the panel. "Where I grew up, I took apart my home's climate control when I was 5. The twins' eyes widened with interest. "Did you break it?" the right twin asked. "Oh, absolutely," Marcus said. "The house thought it was winter for 2 weeks." The twins looked delighted. Marcus tapped the panel lightly. "You want to show me how this works?" Their plates glowed bright orange, excitement. They hurried over, talking over each other. "This controls airflow. This part changes gravity. This tube adjusts temperature. This one makes the lights flicker for fun." Marcus nodded, pretending he wasn't terrified. They understood all of it. Better than engineers he'd worked with. "You two are smart," he said honestly. Their plates flashed quick blue patterns, Nixaran pride. "We know," they said together. Marcus stood. "Okay, listen. There's a huge summit starting tomorrow. Your mom needs everything perfect." Both twins groaned dramatically. "We must stand still," said the left. "And act cute," added the right. "It's torture." Marcus leaned closer. "What if we turn it into a game?" The twins blinked. "Game? A spy game," Marcus said. "In a room full of important aliens, spies must be quiet, still, and unnoticed. But they watch everything. They study body language. They make secret notes." The twins' plates flashed purple, curiosity. "We like spies," the left whispered. "We can be spies," the right said, antenna twitching. Marcus smiled. "Then you'll be the best-behaved kids at the summit. Because good spies don't cause chaos." The floating toys slowly descended to the floor. The twins stared at Marcus with sudden respect. "You think differently, human," the left said. "You are not like the others," the right added. Marcus lifted a brow. "Is that good or bad?" "We don't know yet," they answered in eerie unison. Before Marcus could respond, the nursery doors slid open. First Minister Threx stepped inside, armor shining. "The heirs must prepare for dinner with the Empress." The twins instantly switched to innocent blue patterns. Marcus whispered, "Remember spies." They nodded seriously. Threx watched the three of them for a moment, confused by the sudden peace in the room. Marcus just shrugged. "We reached an understanding." He hoped it would last longer than 10 minutes. Morning arrived too fast. Nixera Prime's twin suns rose one after the other, filling the palace with bright white light that made every crystal wall glow. Marcus blinked awake in the caretaker room, confused for a moment. Then he remembered. He was now responsible for 2 hyper-intelligent, chaos-powered alien heirs. Great. He sat up just in time to see the twins standing over him. Too close, staring at his face like scientists studying a strange animal. "You sleep loud," Leary said. "You breathe funny," Vox added. Marcus rubbed his eyes. "Good morning to you too." The twins' plates flashed excited orange. They were buzzing with energy. Several hollow maps of the palace floated around them, covered in tiny colored symbols. Marcus blinked. "Are you doing homework?" he asked. "No," Leary said. "Yes," Vox admitted. Then both said, "Spy planning." Marcus got up slowly. The maps showed secret hallways, vents, and lookout points above the diplomatic chamber. The twins had studied the summit floor plan more seriously than any adult. "You two weren't joking about being spies," Marcus said. "We never joke about missions," Leary replied. "Only about explosions," Vox added thoughtfully. Marcus decided not to ask. Breakfast arrived, nutrient paste for the twins, something almost like scrambled eggs for him. While eating, Marcus helped them finalize their spy code. One shell color meant liar, another meant angry, another meant hiding something. Their antenna positions meant follow that one, ignore this one, or watch closely. They memorized the system faster than he explained it. First Minister Threx entered soon after, shiny as ever. "It is time," he announced. "The heirs must observe the first summit session." Leary and Vox instantly shifted to calm blue. Perfect little diplomats. Marcus followed them to the grand diplomatic chamber, a massive hall suspended high above bioluminescent gardens. Delegates from dozens of species filled the room, scaled, furred, gelatinous, metallic, gaseous, or made of shapes Marcus couldn't describe. The twins walked with surprising dignity, their plates glowing in dignified patterns that said royalty, but calm. Their private observation platform sat above the main chamber. Marcus stood right behind them, trying to look like he belonged there. The summit began with a deep chime. The Empress entered, glowing like a living constellation. Every species bowed in respect. Then the debate started, trade routes, shared defense, long speeches in 20 different languages. The twins leaned forward, completely silent, antenna twitching in code. Leary flashed a soft teal. "Ambassador Nareth is pretending to agree," Vox whispered back. "But his breathing rhythm means anger." Marcus blinked. They picked up details he would never notice. As the hours passed, Marcus watched the twins transform. For the first time, they weren't bored, chaotic, or restless. They were focused, sharp, brilliant. This was exactly what their minds needed. But peace never lasted long around them. Midway through a negotiation, one of the delegates, a tall creature with shimmering fur, sent a strange signal to an assistant. A small device changed hands under the table. Leary's shell flickered red. "Secret communication," they whispered. Vox added, "Not registered by palace systems." Marcus felt his pulse rise. Sabotage? Spy work? Something worse? Before he could decide what to do, a palace guard approached the platform and bowed deeply. "Human," the guard said. "The Empress requests your presence." "Alone?" Marcus froze. "Alone?" "Yes." Immediately, Leary and Vox turned toward him, their plates dimming. They clearly didn't like it. "We will be fine," Leary said quietly. "We will stay here." "Spy mode," Vox added. Marcus nodded and followed the guard through twisting corridors until they reached a private audience chamber, a quiet, echoing room filled with soft light. The Empress stood at the center, enormous and elegant, plates shifting like poetry. "Approach," she said. Marcus stepped forward, every part of him tense. "My children speak of you," the Empress continued. "They say you teach them. They say you challenge them." Marcus swallowed. "I'm just trying to keep them busy, Your Majesty." The Empress's antenna lowered, almost like a smile. "No," she said. "You are doing more. You see their minds." Marcus hesitated, then answered honestly. "They're brilliant. Too brilliant for the lessons they've been given." "Exactly," the Empress replied. "The previous caretakers tried to control them. You try to understand them. Remember this." Before Marcus could respond, a sudden alarm rang through the palace. A deep, vibrating tone that made the floor tremble. The Empress spun toward the door, plates flashing urgent patterns. "Security breach," she said. "Unknown ships in orbit. The defense grid is offline." She turned back to Marcus. "Go," she commanded. "Find my heirs. Bring them to the royal shelter." Marcus ran. In the hallway, guards rushed past him. Lights flickered. Sirens screamed. But when Marcus reached the diplomatic chamber again, the twins were gone. The diplomatic chamber was in chaos. Delegates rushed in every direction. Guards sprinted toward emergency doors. A thick alarm vibration hummed through the crystal floors like a living heartbeat. But Marcus saw only one thing. The royal twins were not on the observation platform. His stomach twisted. Leary. Vox, he shouted, pushing past a tall gelatinous delegate who let out an offended wobble. No answer. A guard hurried by with a scanner. Human, you must move toward shelter. The heirs, where are they? Marcus demanded. They should be in the Royal Tunnel escort path, the guard replied. But communication lines are failing. Tracking implants show no signal. No signal. Marcus echoed. They shut their implants off. The guard blinked, confused. They can do that. Marcus groaned. Yes, they can do that. He knew the twins. If something big happened, they wouldn't hide. They'd try to fix it. He needed to think like them. What's the one place they couldn't resist during a crisis? Marcus whispered. And then he remembered. The environmental control panel. Their favorite forbidden toy. He pictured a bigger version. Massive, important, complex. He cursed under his breath and sprinted toward the nearest maintenance hatch. The guard shouted behind him. That area is restricted. Marcus yelled back. So are alien kids who break gravity for fun. He dove into the hatch and slid down a long metal tube, landing hard on a lower level. He ran through narrow service corridors filled with humming pipes and glowing coolant streams. Alarms echoed like thunder in the metal tunnels. Please, he muttered to himself. Please be where I think you are. He reached a heavy door marked. Core Regulation Hub. Authorized personnel only. He slammed his hand on the panel. It flashed red, access denied. So he did what any desperate human would do. He kicked it. The panel sparked. The door stuttered. Then, with a mechanical groan, it slid open halfway. Marcus squeezed through. The chamber inside was enormous, larger than any room he had seen in the palace. It looked like the brain of a living machine. Giant tubes pulsed with glowing fluid. Thick cables carried energy like neon rivers across the walls and ceiling. The air felt charged, like a storm waiting to explode. And there, on a narrow platform high above the ground, stood Leary and Vox. They were tiny silhouettes against a wall of blinking lights, their antennae glowing with fast, sharp patterns. Leary, Vox, Marcus shouted. Both heads jerked around. Marcus, they cried in unison. You cannot be here. Leary yelled. We're busy saving the palace. Vox added. Marcus climbed the metal ladder 2 steps at a time. What are you doing? This place is dangerous. We are repairing the defensive grid, Leary said. It was sabotaged, Vox explained. The code attacks Nixerin neural patterns. Marcus blinked up at them. But your brains are not the same as adults, they said together. We can see the false errors. Marcus reached the platform, panting. Screens all around them displayed confusing symbols. Warning lights flashed red. The twins' hands flew over controls faster than human eyes could follow. Your kids, Marcus said helplessly. Brilliant kids, sure, but we are the only ones who can do it, Leary insisted. You must help us, Marcus, Vox added. Marcus hesitated only a second. Tell me what to do. The twins pointed to a small panel across the platform. You can handle the physical bypass. Humans understand manual repair better than Nixerins. Marcus ran to the panel, pulled it open, and stared at a mess of glowing pipes and slots. Which one do I move? He called. The blue conduit. Leary yelled. No, the darker blue conduit. Vox corrected. Marcus groaned. There are 10 shades of blue in here. A large explosion shook the chamber. The floor trembled. A support beam cracked somewhere overhead. No pressure, Marcus muttered. He followed his instinct, grabbed the right tube. He hoped, and yanked it free. Sparks flew. He shoved it into a new port. The entire chamber flickered. Then, the lights steadied. The warning alarm softened. The defensive grid indicator on the main screen changed from red to green. It worked, the twins shouted. Their plates flashed rainbow colors of victory. Marcus allowed himself a relieved breath. But before he could celebrate, another violent tremor knocked him off balance. A heavy pipe fell from above and smashed onto the platform, inches from Vox. That's it, Marcus said firmly. We're leaving. Now. But the system, Leary began, is stable enough, Marcus cut in. You saved the palace. That's enough for today. He grabbed both twins' hands and pulled them toward the ladder. But the engineers, Vox protested. Can finish your work, Marcus said. Alive kids are more useful to a galaxy than dead geniuses. They hesitated only a moment before nodding. The explosions were getting closer. The floor shook again. Marcus didn't wait. He carried both twins halfway down the ladder as dust rained from above. They sprinted into the evacuation corridors. Red lights flashed. The palace trembled. Voices echoed. Footsteps thundered in every direction. As they ran, Leary clutched his sleeve. "Marcus, do you think this is an invasion? Or someone trying to stop the summit?" Vox added softly. Marcus answered honestly. "I don't know yet." But he knew one thing. Whoever was behind this underestimated humans. And they definitely underestimated two tiny Nixeran geniuses. They reached the royal shelter doors at last, thick, reinforced, glowing with protective energy. Marcus slammed his hand on the scanner. "Open," he shouted. The doors slid back, and inside, waiting for them, was the Empress. Her plates flashed with raw fear and relief. "My heirs," she breathed. "And they're human." Marcus exhaled at last. The twins were safe. For now. The moment Marcus stepped into the royal shelter, the heavy doors slammed shut behind him. The sound echoed like a final heartbeat. Inside, the chamber glowed with warm gold light, powered by the palace's deepest reactors. It was built to survive orbital bombardment. The Empress rushed forward, her enormous form casting long patterns of shimmering light across the walls. Her plates flashed a fierce mix of relief, fear, and something Marcus had never seen on her before, gratitude. "My heirs," she said, voice trembling. "You are unharmed." Leary and Vox ran to her without hesitation. Their tiny hands touched her massive forearm plates, and their patterns synchronized with hers. A mother and her children speaking a silent language of colors Marcus couldn't fully understand. Then the Empress turned to him. "You brought them here." Her voice vibrated through the room like distant thunder. Marcus swallowed. They were in the control hub. Someone sabotaged the systems. They repaired the grid. Vox interrupted proudly. "We saved everyone," Leary added, glowing orange with excitement. The Empress's plates darkened sharply. "You disobeyed every protocol." "We know," the twins said together, entirely unashamed. Marcus winced. "With respect, Your Majesty, they were the only ones who could see the real problem. The sabotage targeted Nixeran neural patterns. Everyone else saw fake errors. Your kids didn't." The room went silent. Chief Commander Sithis, a tall armored Nixeran, stepped forward. "The saboteurs have been captured. They belong to a separatist faction that opposes cooperation with Earth." Another officer added. "They aim to disable defenses, embarrass the Empress, and stop the summit." The Empress listened without blinking. Then her eyes, all 20 of them, shifted back to Marcus. "Explain exactly what happened." Marcus told her everything. The twins' analysis, the fake error patterns, the physical bypass, the explosions, the final escape. He didn't exaggerate. He didn't hide their bravery or their risk. By the time he finished, a strange calm filled the room. The Empress motioned toward the twins. "Step forward." Leary and Vox stood straight like miniature soldiers. "Your actions today were reckless," she said, "but brave. You protected your people and defended this palace." Their plates warmed into proud gold. Then she faced Marcus again. "And you, human?" She paused, searching for the right words. "You treated my heirs as minds, not problems. You trusted their intelligence. You helped them succeed where full-grown Nixeran engineers failed." Marcus shook his head. "I just kept them alive long enough to do the impossible." "Exactly," the Empress replied. Threx entered the shelter then, carrying a small glowing tablet. The edges were framed in royal markings. "Your Majesty, the Council has agreed," Threx announced. "The human is to be granted an extended position." Marcus blinked. "Extended? For how long?" The Empress gestured for him to step closer. "Marcus Cole, you will remain as the official human tutor to the royal heirs." Marcus froze. "Tutor, you will guide their minds," she said. "Help them grow into rulers who understand both structure and creativity, both caution and boldness." Marcus stared at her. "Your Majesty, I'm not trained for that. I'm not a scholar. I'm not even." "You are exactly what they need," the Empress said firmly. "Someone who thinks differently." The twins glowed bright green with hope and excitement. "Please say yes," Leary whispered. "You make learning feel like play," Vox added. Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. These kids trusted him. Completely. Dangerously. It scared him, but it warmed him too. He thought of his sister back on Earth. Her treatments. The bills. The fear in her voice every time they talked. He looked at the Empress. My family is on Earth, Marcus said quietly. My sister, she needs medical care. Expensive care. And I. The Empress raised a hand. Already arranged. Marcus blinked. What? Your sister, she said, will receive advanced Nixerin medical support. Housing. Full treatment. She will want for nothing. Marcus nearly lost his balance. You would do that? You save my heirs, the Empress replied. I will protect yours. Leary squeezed his hand. Marcus, stay. Stay with us, Vox echoed. Marcus felt the answer rising inside him before he even spoke it. Yes, he said softly. I'll stay. The twins let out a trill of joy that echoed around the whole shelter. But the Empress wasn't finished. There is more, she said. We have discovered new information about my heirs, and about you. Marcus frowned. About me? The chief geneticist stepped forward, holding a thin crystal tablet. Strange neural diagrams glowed on the surface. These saboteurs, the scientist said, designed the attack to cripple adult Nixerin minds. But it did not affect the twins, Threx added. And it would not have affected humans. Marcus blinked. Because we think differently? The geneticist nodded slowly. Because your mind patterns match theirs. Not perfectly, but closely. Too closely to be chance. Marcus stared at the twins. Their bright eyes stared back. The Empress spoke softly, almost gently. My children are not only heirs. They are the beginning of something new. A new generation with cognitive structure that bends, adapts, and grows like human minds. Leary whispered, we are different. Vox added, but not alone. Marcus felt the weight settle on him. This wasn't just babysitting. This wasn't even tutoring. This was the start of something bigger. A connection between two species, born in a nursery full of floating toys. The Empress stepped closer. You will help them understand what they are, she said, and what they can become. Marcus nodded slowly. I'll do my best. The Empress's plates glowed with calm confidence. That, she said, is why you were chosen. The palace returned to a tense silence as emergency teams repaired damaged halls. The summit resumed, though every corridor felt heavier, watched, uncertain. But the Empress insisted the diplomatic reception must happen. We must not show fear, she declared, or they will think the attack succeeded. That evening, Marcus stood in his new quarters, much larger, cleaner, and brighter than his old maintenance room. A full-length mirror reflected a version of himself he barely recognized. He wore a Nixerin ceremonial outfit designed for human anatomy. The fabric shimmered in soft colors that shifted when he breathed, like moving water. He looked important. That alone scared him. A soft chime sounded. He touched the panel and nearly stumbled back. His sister appeared on the screen. Marcus? Marcus, is that really you? She asked, eyes wide with shock. He laughed, blinking away the sudden tightness in his chest. Hey, Sarah. Welcome to my new life, I guess. She told him that Nixerin envoys had set up medical support, financial help, even a small apartment near the city's green district. She smiled through tears as she said, I'm safe now. Because of you. Marcus felt the weight of everything settle deep inside him. For the first time in years, he wasn't afraid of the future. When the call ended, the twins barreled into his room, already dressed in shining ceremonial plates. Their colors shifted in elegant patterns. You look less like a janitor now, Leary said. More like a tutor, Vox added. Marcus groaned. Is that a compliment? Maybe. They answered together with smug little chirps. They escorted him down glittering crystal stairs into the grand atrium, where the reception was being held. The room was full of bioluminescent vines and floating light orbs. Delegates from dozens of worlds filled the space, wearing everything from armored suits to flowing fabrics made of living organisms. Marcus stepped inside, and every eye turned toward him. He felt naked. The twins stood proudly at his sides, their plates glowing with steady diplomatic blue. That seemed to reassure the crowd. Whispers followed them like trailing mist. That is the human. The tutor. The one with the heirs. The palace savior. Marcus forced himself to breathe normally. The Empress gave him a subtle nod from across the hall. She stood with a cluster of dignitaries, a glowing presence impossible to ignore. Then came the small tests. A towering reptilian diplomat approached with a smile that showed too many teeth. So, it hissed, the Nixerins chose a human to guide their royal heirs. Strange choice. Marcus bowed slightly. Sometimes strange choices bring unexpected results. The reptilian's eyes narrowed, but before he could respond, Leary stepped forward. Your left pupil dilated, Leary announced. It means your words are polite, but your mind is not, Vox added calmly. The diplomat froze. Marcus pinched the bridge of his nose. Spies, he whispered. Not interrogators. The twins' plates flashed innocent pink. Next came a crystalline being whose body refracted the lights into rainbow shards. Human, it said. Your presence changes the political balance. Some find this unsettling. Marcus smiled politely. Change is always unsettling, but sometimes it's needed. The crystal being clicked in amusement. Your simplicity hides sharpness. The twins leaned close to Marcus. That means they like you, Leary whispered. They will support the alliance, Vox confirmed, antenna twitching. Soon more diplomats approached, seeking to test or measure him. Some were kind. Others masked hostility behind polite phrases. Marcus answered with calm, honesty, and occasionally awkward humor, which surprisingly worked. But the tension wasn't gone. Something felt off. A cluster of delegates from the Kalari Collective, the same species as the captured saboteurs, entered the hall. Their leader, High Strategist Rail, bowed to the Empress and spoke formal apologies for the extremist attack. Marcus watched from a distance. His neck prickled. Beside him, Vox whispered, one of the Kalari aides keeps looking at us. Marcus followed the direction. A short Kalari with soft fur and sharp eyes kept glancing toward the twins with something like fear or calculation. We should avoid them, Marcus murmured. But fate had other plans. As the reception continued, the Empress approached with Ambassador Kieran from Earth. The twins bowed perfectly, proud of themselves. Marcus bowed too, trying not to trip over his own ceremonial fabric. Your heirs have impressed many tonight, Ambassador Kieran said warmly. And your tutor has impressed the galaxy, the Empress replied. Marcus nearly choked. Before he could recover, a soft voice came from behind him. Human, royal heirs, I must speak with you. It was the Kalari aide, the one who'd been watching them. A guard moved forward instantly, but the Empress raised a hand. Explain. The aide stepped closer nervously, lowering their voice. I am a genetic researcher. I know why the twins were immune to the sabotage. Leary and Vox stiffened. Marcus's heart hammered. How? Because their minds are evolving, the aide whispered. And their neural patterns match the patterns in human brains. The Empress's plates shifted slowly. You are certain? Yes, the aide said. I have research data. I believe someone is trying to use this information for political leverage. Or worse. Marcus's stomach dropped. More danger. More secrets. More enemies watching the twins. The aide slipped a small data crystal into Marcus's hand. Protect them, they whispered. They are not just heirs. They are proof that your species and ours are meant to grow together. Then they disappeared into the crowd before any guard could stop them. Marcus closed his hand around the glowing crystal. Leary gripped his sleeve. Marcus, what does this mean? He looked at them. Two tiny beings who had saved a palace, survived sabotage, and learned to read lies better than most adults. It means, Marcus said quietly, that your destiny is bigger than any of us understood. The Empress stepped closer. Her voice lowered to a dangerous calm. Come, she said. All of you. We will examine this in private. And with the whole galaxy watching, Marcus followed the Empress and her heirs out of the glowing atrium, toward a truth that would change everything. The private chamber sealed behind them with a low hum. The room was round and quiet, lit only by soft blue light that pulsed from the walls like a heartbeat. The Empress stood at the center, her plates glowing in long, steady waves. Marcus, Leary, and Vox gathered around the central desk where the scientist's data crystal waited. The chief geneticist inserted it into the console. A hologram burst into the air, 3 glowing diagrams, side by side. Nixaran brain structure, human brain structure, and the twins' brain structure. At first glance, the Nixaran and human patterns looked nothing alike. But the twins' diagram pulsed in strange, elegant shapes that connected to both. Marcus felt goosebumps rise. It was like looking at a bridge made out of light. The scientist stepped back. This is not a mistake. This is evolution. Threx added. And someone new. The sabotage was targeted at old neural patterns. But the twins, they're outside the design. Vox tilted their head. We aren't errors. No, the Empress said. You are the next step. Leary whispered. But why like humans? Marcus felt suddenly small under the weight of that question. The scientist answered gently. Nixeran logic is rigid. Human thinking is flexible. Your minds combine both. What you have, the Empress said softly, is potential. The twins exchanged a look. Fear, hope, confusion. Marcus knelt beside them. You're not alone. Whatever you become, I'm here. I'm with you. Their plates flashed warm gold. The Empress turned to Marcus. You understand them. You help them balance thought and emotion, something our people have always struggled with. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. Honestly, I'm not sure I understand myself most days. That is your strength, the Empress replied. Humans are unpredictable, adaptable. You turn chaos into learning. Before Marcus could respond, an alarm tone chimed softly. This one not a danger signal, but a diplomatic request. High Counselor Riva of the Kalari Collective requests immediate audience. An automated voice spoke. Threx's antenna twitched. After what their extremists attempted bold, the Empress raised her hand. Let them enter. Moments later, the Kalari leader stepped into the chamber. Her fur shimmered like flowing metal. 2 guards flanked her, though she came unarmed. She bowed deeply. Your Majesty, I bring news. The Empress's voice was cool. Speak. We captured 3 members of the Separatist Front, Riva said. And interrogations revealed something unexpected. Marcus instinctively pulled the twins closer. Riva continued. The extremists were not only trying to stop the Nixera human alliance. They were afraid of this. She gestured toward the hologram of the twins' neural patterns. They saw your children as a threat to all rigid species. They believed your heirs would inspire generations to think differently. Too differently. Marcus felt his breath freeze. The twins squeezed his hands. Riva bowed again. But the collective rejects their fear. Today's crisis showed us that Nixera and Earth are stronger together. The Kalari wished to join the alliance. Formally, silence filled the chamber. 3 species. 3 different minds. 1 future. The Empress slowly nodded. Then let us build something worthy of our children. She turned to Marcus. And you will help guide it. Me? Marcus sputtered. I fix broken pipes. I mop floors. You see connections others miss, Riva said. You treat young minds like treasures, not weapons. The twins stood taller, glowing with proud silver light. Marcus helps us think clearly, Leary said. He helps us feel safe, Vox added. And he makes work fun, they said together. The Empress placed a massive clawed hand on Marcus's shoulder, gentle, warm. You began as a janitor, she said. But you became something far more valuable. The decision was made. The next day, the summit reconvened. And the galaxy changed. The Nixera, human, Kalari alliance was signed under the light of 3 suns, forming a historic pact of shared science, education, and peace. The twins sat beside their mother, wearing ceremonial plates that pulsed with calm, controlled patterns. Marcus stood behind them in his shimmering attire, hands steady, heart full. For the first time, he was not out of place. He belonged here. 5 years later, the new Trimind Academy hung in orbit above Nixera Prime, a massive station made of crystal, metal, and living vines. It was the first school designed for 3 species at once. In a large observation hall, students of all shapes and colors worked in teams on advanced problem-solving simulations. At the center stood Leary and Vox, now young adolescents. Their plates had grown more intricate, their minds even more brilliant. They led a mixed-species group through a complex crisis model involving gravity failures and political tension. Marcus watched from the balcony with the Empress at his side. They understand now, the Empress said. They found purpose. Marcus nodded. They found connection. The twins looked up and spotted him. Their faces lit with excitement, and they rushed over. Marcus, Leary called. We solved the simulation. Vox added. With Kalari pattern logic, Leary said proudly. And with your human-style improvisation, Vox added. Marcus grinned. I knew you could do it. The twins stepped close, glowing softly. You taught us everything. He shook his head. No, I just showed you what you already had. The Empress looked at all 3 of them, her eyes warm. A janitor, she said quietly, who cleaned floors and cleaned the path for the future. Marcus blushed. Your Majesty. But she raised a hand. No titles. Not today. The twins linked their small hands with his. And for a moment, Marcus saw the future. A galaxy shaped not by war or fear, but by minds learning together, by humans and aliens working side by side, by two extraordinary children who refused to fit into old patterns, and by one stubborn human who believed that teaching mattered. The impossible had become real, because they had built it together.